Hi, I'm Kathleen.
And I'm Sean.
And you're listening to the Dead Baby Bear podcast.
Dead Baby Bear. Long story.
Are you supposed to say Rick Bronson's The Comic Strip or Rick Bronson's Comic Strip?
I call it Rick Bronson is the comic strip.
Look at the walls.
I call Rick the comic strip. And I call his club Rick Bronson's.
Bronson.
Best green rooms in the business.
The back row of the theater.
It's weird that like a former comic is just like, we just don't do green rooms flat out. Like we just Minneapolis, Edmonton, Phoenix.
There's not one green room anywhere.
Well, because I listen to comedy podcasts occasionally, and they'll always rip like the Bronson's green room situation in Minneapolis and Edmonton.
Wow.
Where you have to sit in a boot room. Like if basically if you're a comedian and you come to Edmonton, if you're an American comic and you come to Edmonton and you ask for the green room, it's usually because you're like a super introvert.
Oh yeah, or
right.
You're more famous than you think you are.
Because you have to go upstairs and be kind of away from everything.
Yeah,
and
can you even hear it in there?
You can probably just hear the music, extra intro stuff.
Yikes. Yeah, no, that is not comic strip doesn't even, I never thought they even had a green room. Like I was just always like, oh, it's the back row of the club.
I think it's the change, like it's the employee change room.
Yeah.
And if they know that a headliner's like, where the fuck's the green room? I want to go to the green room.
Yeah.
They'll be like, Christ. And then they'll
set up the picnic table.
Yeah.
The old Dutch.
They'll make the girls move their backpacks to the other side of the change room. Everybody move your backpacks over here.
You can't bring your backpacks in tonight.
There's a prima donna here. There's some fucking goof who thinks he's so great he needs a place to chill before performing.
Where's your favorite green room?
The Rumors. No, I'm just kidding. There isn't one there either. I don't. Where is the best green room? Edmonton Yuck Yucks is a sweet green room.
It's nice because it's like right behind the stage, but
yeah.
then you get to listen to the entire conversation of the comics that came to watch you talking in the back.
That's true. Yeah.
But
it is a nice green room. Just like you close the door, you're in your own little private room.
Yeah.
Like
there's a bathroom. That's actually huge.
Yeah. You can. I mean, if you're the kind of comedian that doesn't like interacting or interfacing with the crowd at all.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect.
You can just zip on through and you don't have to see them ever.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So it's kind of nice.
I think my favorite one would be in Calgary.
Calgary Yucks? Yeah, I think it's more just the people there are nice.
But it's not even just people. Like, it's a nice little back room right next to the bar. It's not in the space at all.
I like ones like the Edmonton Yucks. The reason I like it is because you know when the other guy's closing pretty much. Like, oh, fuck, they're closing. I'll go out there.
Yeah, you can't just sit and like wait.
The Calgary Yucks, you do have to kind of like
pay attention,
be engaged, and leave the room.
Fucking be engaged in
boring
comedy. No, thank you.
But the great thing about the comic strip is you get because for Canadian comics we can't really misbehave. Right?
No.
Like, so whatever club you go to, whatever booker you're working for, manager, whatever, you've got to kind of play ball. Like wherever they send you, whatever the accommodations are, whatever the pay is, whatever the travel arrangements are, whatever it is, you've got to just accept it or you're probably going to get frozen out.
There are at least 10 comics in this country, though, that do like complain if they're not getting the Weston experience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Like
if they're not getting the full, but I mean, that's like the rest of us, the other 500 have to just play ball.
Oh, you know where's a good green room? The new Niagara Falls Yuck Yucks. And they treat you the best out of any, and Calgary treats us amazing too, but every time I've gone there, they just like, they're generous. They took us to Ruth Chris.
Yeah.
Like they were really nice.
That's pretty good.
And so hopefully this continues. And like the owner there is
But I assure you it's going to go from Bruce Chris to Quiznos fast.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Or you can have a grilled steak. No, you can't even get the steak on the sub. It's just like.
But that's what's great about the American, like, you know, that's what's been nice over the years of having the comic strip here.
Yeah.
Because it's so American heavy and it's 99% American.
Yeah.
You get sort of to see the other side of the coin in comedy, where there's all of a sudden there's people that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
but they've got a huge ego. They're big into themselves. They're like the level of braggadociousness is just off the fucking charts.
Do they have like a following?
To a certain extent, and they do have some credits, but like they're walking around the club like a household name.
Yeah.
Right. They're walking around the club like, you know, like I'm trying to think of somebody who hasn't raped anybody. I was going to say Louis C.K. and then I was going to say Bill Cosby.
Oh, you were not going to say those two.
That's
you were
all
not
I have
going to
in my
say that.
mind.
Oh, my God.
I only care if you're a comedian if you also are a rapist. But no, these American guys come up and they'll be at the condo and call the club and say, yo, where the fuck's my ironing board? Come on over and show me where it is.
Show me how to iron.
And somebody from the club will go over and show them where the fucking ironing board is.
Really?
You know, yeah, like so. Or like, this condo isn't good enough. I want to be at the hotel. Okay, we'll move you to the hotel. Like things that as a Canadian comic, you're just like, well, God. You can't do that. You can't ask for that. You'll never be back, right? And then they do come back, and you're like, hey, that prima donna came back.
Yeah.
It's like, you know. So the guy that I was working with last week, I've never seen anybody. It was like watching Kanye West do stand-up.
On The Late Show or on all of them?
On all of them.
Yeah.
In terms of like the level of on-stage confidence and bragging, I'd never seen it before.
What?
Because as Canadian comedians, usually your punchlines are like, yeah, I'm fucking don't have any money, or I don't have a car, or I don't have anything. And then this guy's on stage like, I'm rich. I'm rich, period. I have way more fucking money than anybody in here. I have 2 trucks. I have a Maserati. And then he would talk about like philanthropic things he's doing, like helping children learn languages and stuff.
Was it funny?
Well, the stuff that he was doing that was bragging wasn't funny.
Yeah.
But then he would get into a story, and his stories were great.
How would he weave that in?
He didn't need to. He would say like, I am one of the greatest storytellers in America, and here's one of my stories, and then do that story with that as the preface. Like if I went on stage at any point and said, this is one of the best jokes fucking ever, and then told it, people would be like, no, it isn't. You know, like I don't, it was just, I've never seen anybody set their comedy up that way. And if anybody spoke, they were like, shut the fuck up or I'll fight you. You know, like that was, it was kind of, because the comic strip is just notoriously chatty. It's kids that are waiting to do other shit on Bourbon Street later on. Yeah. You know, so they're young, they're drunk, they don't have, you know, they don't give a shit. Yeah. So, you know, but he'd be up there and he would, like if they spoke, he would stop the entire show and just focus on this and just tell them like, if you don't, you can leave or I'll fight you and kick the fuck out of you.
What?
And so over the course of like 15 or 20 minutes, he would have the crowd like quiet and scared.
Too scared to laugh.
No, but they would still laugh. Like he would. So I was like, this is really interesting because he's threatening them. Yeah. And he's telling them how great he is and how much better he is than they are. Oh my God. And then going in and telling a story and still succeeding, like still doing well. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like this takes so much self-confidence. To be like, I'm fucking great. You're lucky to have me here.
Anyone with a lot of blind self-confidence will be a star. They will. Because
they have a better chance, yeah.
All the people that I've known that like I'm just like, well, they're okay, but they get successful. They are so confident in themselves and everything. And I mean,
well, yeah, because you build up as somebody who puts themselves out there and gets rejected occasionally, you build up this scar tissue of like, you know, okay, that person didn't like it. Okay, this person had something shitty to say about it, or whatever. And you just build up this scar tissue of like you start taking fewer and fewer chances because you're like, no, I tried that before and it didn't work out. Whereas, the people who are so delusional that those little nicks and cuts don't build up any scar tissue, it doesn't affect them, it doesn't hold them down. Yeah. It's just noise to them. Like they don't care. It's sort of like almost being like a bit of a sociopath about it. Where like people might have shitty things to say about their comedy, but they're like, well, you're nobody. You're zero. Why would I fucking care what you think? Whereas people like us would read a comment from somebody who doesn't even have their real name. Yeah. And we'd be like, yeah.
Well, I am terrible.
Jim 7849 is right.
I do have meaty beef curtains. Somebody wrote that under a YouTube video once. It's like, kind of funny. She's probably got meaty beef curtains.
Meaty beef curtains. That's pussy racist.
It was funny. I
That
mean,
sounds
I was
pussy
just
racist.
like, oh, whatever.
I don't know if it's racist.
I don't know if it's maybe. Pussy. Why are big pussies better than little pussies? I don't know.
I don't even know what puffy is. It? I bet she has meaty beef curtains. Like she's like thick.
I got a thick vagina. That vagina is
That chick's
fat.
got thick walls, boy. Go ahead and take a crack at it. Like putting it in a hamster's ass. I don't know if that's true, but.
Oh my God.
Thick walls on that one. Trump would love her.
Trump would be into this.
Oh, build up those thick walls. Keep those Mexican dicks out.
That's what I liked about Kathleen, her thick walls. She had some thick walls behind her, emotional walls. I don't know.
That's gross.
I've been watching too many reality dating shows right now, so I'm really like hearing about, let me take down your emotional wall. My problem is that I have my wall up all the time. That's all the hot people's problem with not finding love. Like, I cannot trust anyone, blah, blah, blah. I'm so tired of watching these dating shows with hot people.
Yeah.
I do.
They've just had nothing but dick thrown at them their whole life.
Yeah.
Or the guys have had nothing but pussy their whole life, and they're trying to be like a sympathetic character.
I just want to see Tinder do a show called Tinder and be real about it, and show the real people on, like, not just like hot influencers that are on Tinder and get paid. I'm like, I would like to see a dating show where it's just people. Someone said, I was talking about this to somebody, and she's like, well, that's just boring because that's just all of us. I'm like, I know. I would love to see a regular people on a date. More than hot people all the time. It's like how I like amateur porn.
You're not into the pro stuff?
Not as much. I like gay porn with men, and I like amateur porn.
You know what's funny is I wonder if porn is like comedy, where there's all these pro porn people that are like, listen, you fucking amateurs.
That is not how you do a DP.
You're costing everybody a lot of money with your amateur porn. You and your boyfriend on a futon. I get it. It's kinky.
You'll do it for $100.
Wait till you're trying to pay your rent with your pussy. You'll regret those amateur videos. They're not going to log on to your pro site when they get all your AMs for free. Hey guys, I have my own YouTube channel now. Like, forget it, bitch. I have 60 videos.
I've seen the inside of you.
Yeah, you and your thin walls.
You and your thin walls. You're not. I like that thick wall pussy porn.
Thick wall pussy porn. Yeah, put that in your YouPorn search engine. I'm sorry.
Put it in. Can you put it in and see what comes up?
Thick wall pussy porn.
I can't wait. And this is going to be on Jim's porn search history.
It's just going to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What? Like, I think
you can put anything into. You can put anything.
What's this website?
You got to go to Pornhub, but you can put anything to Pornhub and something will come up. Pornhub.
Okay, here we go.
What's your preferred pornography site?
Yeah, see, that's dangerous, right? Because that's like, hey, you want to watch this again? Like, whoa. Thick wall pussy porn. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that would be funny. It was like, what you were last watching.
Does it say anything?
No, it's mostly thick male.
Oh, thick male.
Yeah,
Right.
thick in the title.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Oh, yeah, every porn where it's like describing, oh, yeah, little girl takes a thick-ass cock. It's always a thick, throbbing
I know.
dick.
And it's never a big girl.
No.
Big girl takes little dick. Like,
Stop it. That's
woman who's had 7 children takes a tiny prick. Oh, that's interesting. I like a lot of air in my porn.
I think to make some money, I just get into the porn business and just do fat girls that fuck tiny dicks.
Fat girl, tiny dick. Watch her pretend to love it. Watch her pretend she can't take a bigger one.
Oh my God.
Oh, this is maximum dick, Frank. Couldn't take another fucking millimeter.
This thing is insane.
Wow.
I like it. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to walk tomorrow.
That's gross.
This little tiny dick.
It turned into porn talk.
Porn talk. I don't know. That's what the people want. The people want
like
sex.
Porn talk?
Well, did you see like Cardi B, Jermaine Dupri, was that who it was that said something about, all rap girls just talk about sex? It's the same argument that a lot of female comics get, even me, and that's all I
What do
talk
they
about.
think? Oh, oh my God, all she talks about is sex.
So, but like, I think, what's his name? Who was the guy that was married to Janet Jackson? It wasn't Jermaine Dupri. Is that his name? Frick, I can't remember. I think it was him. And then he said something like, all female rappers, all they do is sing about their pussy, and there's nobody that does anything but sex. And then Cardi B came back at him, and she was like, yeah, it's because I put out a song that had nothing to do with sex, and nobody listened to it. Like, nobody would listen to anything other than my shake my pussy, shake my ass songs. And like, so what do you expect us to do? And there's plenty of like female rappers out there that are like not talking about sex, and nobody knows what they are.
Yeah, I don't.
Women aren't allowed to be smart.
Yeah,
sometimes.
they're not allowed. Well, I mean, what are male rappers talking about?
I was expecting you to be something like, women aren't smart. Okay.
No, I'm not gonna.
I don't know.
About that.
Male rappers are talking about a lot of sex.
Yeah, for sure.
Or being shot at, because that is it's a huge theme. There's a lot of like, I didn't mean to say like that. I'm high. I'm sorry. But it's a thing that they say about, because it's happening to everybody there. Oh my God. This is
What else do black people do, Kathleen?
I feel awful right now.
Let's do a racist story one word at a time. Black. Just say man.
Stop it. I wasn't being racist.
Black. Say the first thing that comes to mind when I say this color of a human being. Black.
Cock. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh, you sicko.
Sicko. Crazy pervert.
I did a golf tournament. I didn't do comedy at it, but I played with me and Kent Tilley.
Really?
The sponsor of this podcast.
The sponsor of this podcast. He still has at least a couple.
Temporarily.
You know what I feel like doing? Just continuing on. Even if he's like, nah, thanks. We'll just keep going. And if he likes it, he can keep sending us money. And if he doesn't, too fucking bad. Thanks for your support.
Too fucking bad.
I don't know why I talk like this about Kent. He's the most amazing.
He is a good guy. But it was funny because we played, and it was interesting to be at an event where there was like an entertainer, and we weren't part of the show.
Who was it?
It was he wasn't really. He was an auctioneer who was emceeing the event. So
Danny Hooper?
I don't think it was. He was like, I've worked with him before.
Who was the one that they always used for the cancer fundraiser?
I think that was Danny Hooper. This guy's like an Edmonton Oiler, like copper jacket weirdo.
What? Copper jacket? What is the copper jacket?
It's
weirdo?
like these guys that have money and like, we have a copper jacket.
What?
And so they have these Oiler copper jackets. Like they're
rich
like
people?
Yeah, they're like, I don't know if it's season ticket holders or like former players or executives or whatever, but there's all these rich white dudes that have these.
I just see a gang of rich old white guys walking down with their copper jackets on.
Yeah. So I remember seeing this guy in a copper jacket. I'm like, look at this fucking loser, And then we did the same. We both emceed the Pigeon Lake Music Festival together. Great gig.
Yeah.
And so, but I was bound by only being able to do my own material, which is that's some pretty tight handcuffs. So I'm up there like just eating it with my own material in front of like drunk people at a music festival. And then he goes up there and we're doing the same event. Like we'd be doing like live auction stuff, giving away prizes. And he would go up and like, he would just be like, man walks into a bar, like, and so he just confidently is telling Scottish, mostly like Scottish-based street jokes, like, well, Martha fell out of the car. Where did she go?
What is that joke?
She's back there. Amazing. What the hell's going on with me wife? Kind of shit, like. Cop pulls a Scottish man over. The Scottish man, like, so he's doing it like radio DJ style street jokes with Scottish accents.
With an accent? That's like some A+ hosting.
So he's killing it.
Accents and
people in the crowd. It's like a music festival, so they're up in like a mosh pit, and I would hear people in this mosh pit going like, "Now that's comedy."
Shut up.
No, I'm serious.
Pigeon Lake. Oh my God.
Now that's a comedian, and they're pointing at him like, "Comedian."
They were not doing that.
They were chanting comedian and pointing at him.
Such a liar.
And so they're loving him and not liking me is essentially the idea. So then I see him at this golf tournament. I'm like, I think I know that guy.
Yeah.
And then he gets up there, and the funny part is he's up there, he's emceeing, and it's a golf tournament for the Children's Wish Network. So all of a sudden he's trying to get the crowd going and get the crowd engaged. He's doing his little street jokes. He's talking fast. And the crowd's liking him, and he's, and I'm like, and my body's telling me like, oh, get ready to go on, like, and it's like, no, you're not going on, like, but it was just like seeing somebody doing that made me feel like I needed to get ready to go on. And then this lady went on with her daughter, her daughter had cancer, and she told this big, long, emotional story about her daughter's diagnosis and how hard it's been on the family, and thank you so much to the Children's Wish Network for all this stuff. And then
I'm not laughing because...
What are you laughing about?
I'm not laughing because she has cancer. I'm laughing at the anticipation of what the punchline to this story is.
You shouldn't be anticipating. It's not that. Okay. So then she does this whole 15-minute story, lots of tears and a big clapping and everything. She leaves, and then the MC gets back on, like this auctioneer, and he goes, whoa, that sucked the air out of the room.
And
I was like, what the fuck did he just say? Did he just say that sucked the air out of the room? Like,
and the sad part was she had lung cancer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I have to be funny.
No, that was fun.
But the kid is fine.
She's dead. No, she isn't dead.
Oh my God, Sean.
She's near it. But anyways, but no, it was just funny to me because I know like it's a reminder for me like how bad of a performer I am, because if I said something like that, like if I was emceeing that event and I went up after somebody had explained that their 4-year-old daughter had multiple tumors in her brain, and I went up and said like, whew, that really sucked the air out of the room, folks. The show would have been in every sense over.
Yeah.
Like
for almost most people.
They would not have this guy. He just kept fucking rolling like as if he'd said, keep it going for them. They're amazing. Like he's like, hey, I can like two Scottish guys walk into a porn parlor.
Is this guy Scottish, or he just can do a good Scottish accent?
That's if you're gonna do street jokes, then you might as well throw in any accent you can do into it.
Yeah.
And he probably had a bunch of Arab ones that he had to drop in 2014 about taxi drivers or whatever. And then he had to be like, oh, fuck, I can't do all my brown stuff because of these liberals. Now I'm down to Scottish. I can't do any of my telemarketer
accents. Jeff Dunham much anymore?
He was Jeff Dunham was the MC at Sterling's Just for Laughs gala last year.
Oh, okay, never mind. He's still successful.
Oh, he's very relevant.
Well, I just remember watching it and like I was like, these puppets are so racist, but it's coming out of a puppet's mouth, so it's like that's okay.
Yeah, I still don't blame Jeff.
No, I watched the Aziz Ansari special. I never watched specials, but someone was like, oh my God, it's so good. And I watched it and I'm like, this is so much preachy PC.
What was it about?
It was, well, he talks about how he was in a Me Too thing at the beginning, and then he just kind of like, he just goes off about, I don't know, there's a lot of like racial stuff that it's just like, I don't know if there was as many jokes as it was. It was very preachy. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Did you watch all of it?
No. I don't think I've watched a whole comedy special in years, though. Like, usually I'll watch the first. It's very rare that I'll watch it straight through the end.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen any.
You don't watch none.
No.
But I didn't like the Aziz Ansari.
Like, even before I did stand-up, if somebody's like, oh, there's this comedy, I'm like, no. Like, fucking what?
I had never been
I haven't seen
to a
Anchorman.
Show and
like,
stuff. You haven't?
I haven't seen Anchorman. I've never seen an episode of South Park. Like, I don't know.
You've never seen South Park?
No. Like, I've just never. I've had to drop jokes because people were like, "That's from South Park," and I'm like, "Fuck." Now I gotta drop that joke, even though I haven't seen that episode. Oh, it was probably their shittiest material, but my best. You know. It was their throwaway joke in minute 23, and it was something I was trying to close on. But,
that was my best closer.
Yeah, so I don't get down, but we did. I mean, I wanted to talk about our last comic standing experience.
Oh yeah, when we did that in Montreal.
I don't think we talked about
when was that?
What year was that?
2000. I have pictures of it somewhere. It's like 2009, maybe.
Yeah, it was me, you, Andrew Iwanek, Welby Santos, and Max Malt.
Yeah.
It was a train of Edmonton comedians that went to Montreal.
Yeah.
To audition for Last Comic Standing and I think Last Comic Standing had come to Toronto before or whatever.
I think that year they only did it in Montreal.
That year was just Montreal.
That was the first time they went to Canada.
Yeah, and the memorable part of it for me was we went there and got tickets the day before, right? We went to the studio.
Well, because we thought we were going to have to line up. And then I remember getting there and it was like a snowstorm. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to line up. So I knocked, I just walked upstairs into I think it was in Club Soda. And they were like setting up. And I was like, do we have to line up out here? And they're like, oh no, you're the first ones. Here's some tickets. And we got 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. But
that's right. We were the first. And then so that kind of guaranteed us a spot the next day.
But then we get there and it's like, here's 20 comedians that have agents that got booked in ahead of you. Like they kept on pushing. I think by the time we went,
there were like radio contest winners and
people that had agents.
Yeah, and people that were tied in with Just for Laughs, because Just for Laughs was like somehow associated with it. I don't really remember how.
Well, it's Montreal. They filmed it in Montreal. It was some sort of thing.
So I think that, so there was like and there was a lot of like bigger name comedians at that time that went. Like a lot of them. There was like, who was like Derek Edwards was there, Oren Barker was there, like, Derek Sagan was there, like there, Steve Patterson, like basically a ton of headliners from across the country were there.
Yeah.
And so and those people didn't have to line up. They had a specific time. Yeah. They could come at like 2:15. But that actually hurt them because by the time they got up, the judges had already seen 287 comedians.
Oh, I guess so.
Right. So we got in when the day was still kind of new and fresh.
Yeah. Like, you got to go to the nighttime show.
Yeah, but it was because
Ant liked you.
That's right. Yeah, so the story of that is there was Alonzo Bowden, Kathleen Madigan, and Ant were the judges.
If you remember Ant.
So for the people that are younger, Ant was this like just an idiot comic, right? He was like just a I'm
wacky and crazy.
Yeah, he was like effeminate and wacky, and he was like, hello, hi there, like, but nobody thought he was any good. He was garbage. So the other ones, people respected. Yeah. And so people would sometimes be like, and then Ant went off on this comic, like as if fucking I care about what Ant thinks. So, we were all kind of like, you know what? And I remember specifically being like, if Ant starts shitting on me, I'm just going to walk off. Like, I'm not going, if I'm going to start doing jokes. And if Ant goes, excuse me, like even if he stops me, I'm just walking the fuck off. I'm not going to have a back and forth with this humorless fucking idiot. Maybe if the other two have a word to say, I'll talk to them because they're, respectable headliners. And then I do 3 minutes and Kathleen Madigan is like, yeah, it was all right. Like, it's okay. Yeah, it was all right. And then Alonzo Bowden's like, yeah, I mean, wasn't bad, man. Like, I could take it or leave it. Like, and then they go to Ant, and he's like, I loved it. and loved it. Oh, and then Alonzo Bowden and Kathleen Madigan are like, okay, but if he goes through to the night show, that's on you. And Ant's like, absolutely. He was great. And so I'm walking off like, fuck. Like, I wonder if I tell this part of the story that I got through because of the shittiest comic saw something special in me.
Oh my God.
People without talent can really spot other people without talent. And you're one of them. So, yeah, then I went through, and then it was fun to watch. Like, you get to see the desperation. Like, it was probably, to be honest, like one of the moments in my comedy career where I was like, I can't be a part of this.
Comics were begging.
They were begging on stage, and they were so desperate off stage.
Yeah.
Like,
get on the camera.
Whenever there was an NBC camera around, there were Canadian comedians of all stripes tripping over themselves to get in front of it and mug for the camera. I mean, it was sad. It made me sick.
But that's like reality television. That's like what they want to see.
And there was a comedian. This is where I may have gotten in some shit. For the evening show, there's a comedian called Simon B. Cotter who got through.
Yeah.
Probably on the strong Ant vote again.
Strong Ant vote. So I want to get you a shirt made saying Ant loves me.
And so they put a sign in front of him because it's NBC. They don't give a fuck about any of us.
Yeah.
They just write Simon Cotter on the sheet. And he's like, excuse me. It's Simon B. Cotter. And then they go, all right. And then they give him the sheet. and a pen. Like, why don't you throw a bee on it? You fucking, here you go. They just throw it at him and then like put a bee on it. And he goes, why don't you do that? And then gives it back to them for them to put the bee on it.
What?
So I thought, like, this is awesome. So when I get mine, I write Sean B. Lacombe. And I just was Sean B. Lacombe all night. I was introduced as Sean B. Lacombe. I never spoke a word to Simon B. Cotter, but there was a moment where like they were like, next up from Edmonton, Sean B. Lacombe. And Simon looked at me like, what the fuck is he Sean B. Lacombe? What the hell? And then I lost to a man in a gorilla costume.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that
you
happened.
lost to the gorilla man.
But that's when that was my first taste of like, oh, I'll never be successful. Because during the nighttime show, everybody else was like desperate to get in front of the camera, right? Or there was some people that were calculated about it. Like Jerry D would just be on his phone, totally couldn't care less that this was happening. No, I wouldn't say that, but like he was just on his phone, like texting and didn't care. And then when the cameras came on, he was like crossing his fingers and going, oh, I hope I get through. Like, so he was like, which was smart. That was the smart play. He was playing a character. Yeah. And other people were doing that too. And meanwhile, I'm like standing behind the camera. And so they would like move the camera into where I was, and I'd be like, all right, let's fucking get out of here. So the whole idea was like they had a bunch of chairs, like 15 chairs that were tight together so that whenever the cameras came in, they could just pan on everybody. Yeah. And they already had their characters. They had like the gay girl, the plucky Canadian Jerry D. They had the gay guy. Like they had their characters. Yeah. But I was fucking getting out of the way of every shot until finally they were like, don't even fucking. And then they also wanted you to tell a story about and they never used, of course they didn't use it, but they wanted you to tell a story about why Last Comic Standing meant so much to you, why it meant so much to you personally to be the Last Comic Standing. And I was like, well, my parents were in a car accident. And I was in the car, we were all ejected from the vehicle, but I went out the side and landed on the ground early, and then my parents came out the windshield and they flew over me. And as they flew over me, they said, please win Last Comic Standing. And that was the last thing they ever said. And then they hit the road and both died together. Oh my God. And they were like, and then somebody was like, I could hear somebody's headset like, fuck off, fuck him, like, fuck him, move on. Like, But
wouldn't they expect to get something like that filming comedians?
But they literally, they didn't want you to tell jokes about it. They wanted you to literally say, like, this means so much to me. This is such a big deal. This is like life and death. This is make or break. I really want to be famous.
Americans, especially in the talent industry, are very big on stories. Like, anytime, like when I had my management in LA, they were like more concerned about what my story was than what my act was.
What's your story?
What's your story? Well, we think it's great. You're a Canadian, blah, 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 blah.
But what else?
What is your story?
What else can you do?
Like, but that's the same thing with reality television and Last Comic Standing. Because on all those shows, why is everybody like, trying to pay for my mom's surgery with this? Like, everyone's got like a little sob story about why they should, and that's all it is. It's never anything funny. Like, I would kill to see something like that show up on one of these comedy shows. Like, there's a new one called The Joke Off. It's some sort of make me laugh or something, and it's like, who's judging it? Oh, somebody like Chrissy Teigen. Little guy, what's his name?
That's what I love about women. They can never remember little guys' names. What's that little guy's name? Who's that tall guy? Bill. Like, never forget a tall man's name. Meanwhile, I'm 6'3". I haven't been able to leverage my height into any pussy throughout my entire adult life.
That is pretty strange that you're 6'3" and you can't even.
You don't get laid because of it. When you look like this, so it's initially like, he's tall. Whoa.
No, you just have to tell them that you also play hockey, and then you can look like anything.
Really? Is that?
Oh my God! Some of the
I don't think that would work for me now. I'm 41.
But
like,
said if you
I play hockey too. Rec league. Div 5. We have to have 3 girls, and there's no slap shots. I don't know if you want to fuck.
Would you like to fuck later? I'm asking permission. That's what we have to do these days.
Yeah. I play the whole period sometimes. No, I don't think that would work. No. But I think I think it was just funny that you were like, little guy, what's his name?
He's
I'll
a
have
comic.
to ask
He's
another
a big,
little guy.
famous comic. Little guy.
Is
he was always with The Rock. Kevin Hart.
Oh, Kevin Hart. Okay. That really actually solidifies my point because it was one of the most famous comedians in the world. You were like, what's that little character's name? Black fella, probably got shot. No. You and your thick walls.
Oh, my God.
Can't keep Kevin Hart's love out.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
That's pretty gross.
But anyway, it's a comedy show, and they do sketch, like musical comedy, stand-up comedy, and it's the characters, and there was ventriloquists and stuff. But it was like, it was just sort of a weird thing to see, and I was like, oh, it's all these weird comics. But then there's one comic from LA named Jesus Trejo, who's very funny.
Yeah.
And he was on it, and he went through, which made me happy. But... It's
what was your audition like for Last Comic Standing? Like, what was your experience?
I told
you went on, like, you went on after me?
Yeah.
I think the advantage I had too was I was the first. Well, I only went through because of Ant, but I think there was 8. The judges didn't know this, but there was like 8 because they didn't differentiate between any of us.
Yeah.
Like I saw Erwin Barker, who at that time was like, you know, kind of, I guess, like hands down the best or one of the best comedians in Canada at that time.
Yeah.
And he went to do like a phone thing with his hand, like he was on the telephone. And they were like, well, what are you doing? And he was like, I'm just on the phone in the joke. And they're like, oh, man, like that's so 80s or whatever.
That's also that's like sort of like an automatic thing when you're saying, so I was on the phone, that's like automatic.
Yeah, so they didn't.
Nitpicky.
So they were like, get out of here or whatever.
They didn't even listen to him?
No, he did. He was like, do you want me to continue? And they were like, nah, it's okay. So he did like 30 seconds. He did 30 seconds, and then they stopped him because of the phone thing, and then he asked if he should continue, and they said, no, don't worry about it. And that was the best comedian in Canada, right? So then they had, so when I did it, there was 8 people who went before me. They were all people from Montreal who won a radio contest to audition. Oh, okay. So they were just like regular
people.
Yeah, but as far as the judges knew, I was just like comedian number 9. You know, like they were like, who's number 1? They didn't say like, oh, radio contest winner. Yeah. You know, they just didn't give a fuck. No, it just kept
going in an order.
So you weren't that far behind me.
Yeah, I was a couple people behind you. And yeah, I know it's just, I don't know. I told a like sort of like an abortion miscarriage joke.
That's fun.
But I thought it was cool.
Miscarriage direction.
Miscarriage direction. That's what it was.
That's what you're about.
Yeah. And I thought I did okay, and then Alonzo was like, yeah, that was actually really funny, but you're too dirty for network television. And then I was like, oh, okay. And somebody said something. Kathleen Megan said nothing to me. And then somebody said something like, oh, yeah, you can be on network television. I'm like, that's okay. I don't need to be on network television. And then Aunt goes, you don't need to be on network television?
Please, sister.
And I was just like, I guess I could go to cable. Like I'm just like I'm more of a cable.
Sure, on the CNN ticker maybe.
But yeah, it wasn't
Bitch
fun. And then they did not
dead.
put me through. It was so. You know why it sucked?
What?
Because it was like you did jokes for 3 comedians who don't laugh at anything anymore, and just a bunch of people in the back crew barely paying attention. I got a couple of laughs from the back crew, which felt nice.
The judges aren't really judges, right? Because the judges they're trying to increase their profile as well.
Yeah.
That's why they're there. They're not there, you know, they're not there to find talent. They're there to be funny, to be sharp, to say stuff that's going to keep them on the show. So you're not really being judged by, it's all the people that are the executive producers that are in the van that are telling the cameras where to go, telling the actors what to sort of say. And, you know, and then somebody will go up and beg for it. And then somebody will whisper in their ear, like, give them another chance or don't. Yeah. Right? Because you get like 50 people. There were probably 50 people at that audition who begged for it. Right. So they would do their set, and then they would say like, thanks for coming in, but we're going to take a pass. Yeah. And then they'd be like, please, I need this.
I've been dreaming of this forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the executive producers in their ear like, yeah, let him have another crack at it, or nope, move on from him, you know.
We got to get him crying, get a picture of him crying.
So you're trying to impress these judges, but the judges aren't really paying attention to your set. They're paying attention to what they're going to say about your set to be funny.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird it's just a weird system anyway.
I like reality television because it's so fake, all of it and contrived. But I really want to, because you remember Trevor Boris?
Yeah, I remember Trevor B.
Trevor B. He's tall. That's how I remembered his name.
Yes.
But
what's that short guy's name? Einstein. Alberto Einstein.
Alberto Einstein. No, so he does a lot of. He produces a lot of reality television now, like Hockey Wives, Big Brother Canada. I think he's even doing Big Brother America. And I'm just like, that just seems so interesting. I would love to see what it's like behind, because I just fell into Big Brother. I wasn't into, and then I just watched a couple episodes, and now I'm into it because they have a live feed in the house, so you can watch it at any time. But then they just pick and choose what they want to air. And apparently on this season, there's been some people that have been saying some awful things, but they won't air it. And they don't. So off the TV show, they look like they're monsters. But on the TV show, they only look like kind of assholes. So it's kind of like, how much do you miss and how much are you hiding? And how boring is it to shoot one of those shows? Can you imagine, like, The Bachelor? All you do, I mean, it sounds good for a couple of days to, like, sit around by a pool. But, like, a week of just hanging out all day?
Well, if you're a regular person, being surrounded by people that are desperate to be famous is so exhausting.
It is.
Like, I mean, being in that hallway at Last Comic Standing was exhausting because it's filled with people who are desperate to be famous.
Yeah.
And they're mugging for this camera. It was like the visual of it would be similar to like a bunch of starving dogs in a hallway.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes in with like a
One
couple
bone,
steaks.
yeah.
And then everybody's like, woo!
Oh, no.
Give me the fucking, please. I know there's only one steak. Give it to me.
But that's because we're fucking in Canada.
I'm the biggest dog.
We have to take every goddamn chance that comes our way. And that's why it's...
The other thing about Last Comic Standing that was funny was they remember there was some like people that got stuck outside. Because what they wanted, they had a huge staircase that they could have fit everybody on.
They made us go outside so they could film us standing in the snow.
So it was like minus 35 with the wind like whipping sideways.
It was awful.
It was a snowstorm. It was like unbearably cold.
Yeah.
And they wanted the reason that they went to Montreal was for those outdoor shots.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they could have just done like an extra LA or an extra New York or whatever. But they went
there on St. Patrick's Day, and normally there wouldn't be that much snow, but it was just like a freak.
It was. So they were like, okay, everybody hang out here. So what they were trying to do is bring in Canadiana shit, right? They were trying to bring in like an RCMP officer on a horse,
there's a moose
and there's a moose
down the street.
Like, so they were they wanted to show like this long lineup of Canadian comedians out in this snowstorm with all these Canadian sort of things happening around it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, all these Canadian comedians are like, please let us in, we're dying. Like, please let us into that stairway.
My feet are frozen. I was not dressed for this.
And they're like, yeah, in a couple minutes. Like, what? Yeah, in a couple minutes, we're going to move into the stairway. And you'd just be like...
But remember, we were standing in the stairway, and they moved us out of the stairway.
Yeah, so we were outside, and then we were inside, and then they were like, okay... Now we have the stuff, send them back out again.
Yeah.
So then you'd have to stand back outside, and it was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
It was very weird.
This is insane. Weird. Yeah, it made you feel like, okay, is this what I want for my life, is to just be kind of dragged around by this, like, guy in a van that's like, okay, yeah, tell him to fuck, like, what? Who is that person telling you what to do with everybody?
Yeah.
Lose the fat guy. What?
Move him off to the side.
But I do remember, like, when I was telling that, like, my parents were flying over, like, there was a guy in the van, like, shut him up, cut him down, shut him down. Like, they were trying to, like, this guy's a fucking idiot. Like, don't, move the camera. So, like, as soon as I finished the story, they were like, fucking, moving on.
That's so funny, though. Oh my God. I would give anything to see that footage.
But that was a while. That was like 2008 or something.
Yeah,
that was a long
like
fucking time ago.
2009. Maybe.
Was it 2009?
I feel like it was 2009.
We brought Welby Santos with us, and that was good.
Did.
And then Max Malt and Andrei Wanziuk.
That was fun. Yeah, the three of us rented one room in the Delta because Andrew was like, we got to stay at the Delta. We flew ourselves there and put ourselves up. And Max rented a car for all of us, and Welby yelled directions from the back seat. And
right, Welby got his own hotel. I don't know why you guys just got a fucking hotel. I fucking got it online. And then he says he booked it online, right?
Yeah, like Hotwire had just started.
Like, and back then it was this new thing.
Heard of
and he's
it.
like, oh fucking,
Welby was on top
of it. You gotta
fucking
get it online. You can't fucking. So he orders it online, and then the next day, like, just perfect theater. He's giving us shit for how much we spent on our hotel room and how much he's bragging about how much he saved.
$200 total.
He's bragging about how much he saved in his hotel, and then the next day we meet him at 10 a.m. for breakfast. He looks fucking exhausted. And I'm like, what happened at the Chateau del Cheap? And he was like, oh, fucking stupid fucking air conditioner wouldn't shut off and the fucking sink was running all night. And I couldn't. So, like, there was all these things happening at this cheap hotel that prevented him from getting a good Filipino fucking bamboo sleep.
Jesus, why would you say Filipino bamboo sleep?
That's the name of the hotel. It's not racist.
Oh, my
booked
God.
A room on Hotwire called Filipino Bamboo Snuggle. But he couldn't sleep. He couldn't get a wink in his shitty hotel. And he shows up. But the fact that he told me the story revealed something to me. I was just like, if I had saved money on that hotel, the next day I would have been like, had 9 coffees so that when they were plugging me about like, how was your stay? I would have been great. You know, like I wouldn't have revealed it and been like, fucking stupid people at that hotel. It's like, yeah, but you're the one that cheaped out and took a room there.
I mean, it was called what it was called for a reason.
What was it called again?
I'm not going to say it.
Because I want to put it in the description. Kathleen says Filipino bamboo.
Yeah, you keep on putting in the descriptions only things that I say. I was like reading this last one. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was bad. I shouldn't have done that.
I took some of them out for the tweet. I always have to edit them down for the tweet.
Because the last one was the Jana podcast.
Yeah.
We don't know what this one's going to be.
We don't know what this is because we're a couple episodes ahead because we fuck up a lot.
But Montreal was fun. Like, it's a fun city to be in.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as the audition thing was over and all that was, like, put to bed, it was fun.
Yeah.
Like, just hanging out there with Max. And because Max was the slowest eater I've ever seen. Like,
oh, my God.
Never seen a human being eat that slowly in my life. It took him 2 fucking hours to eat an entree. I've never seen anybody do it. I've never seen anybody eat that fucking slow ever. He would just he never stopped. It wasn't like he would take a big bite and then read the newspaper. He would continually eat, just fucking meticulous, like a turtle.
Like a turtle.
Like a little turtle.
Like a little gray-haired turtle.
His hands moved like a turtle's hands.
That would sometimes go.
Yeah. And he just ate. So as we were like, Max, are you ever going to fucking finish that lasagna? And he'd be like, relax. Like, he was so chilled out. Like, he was
also exhausted.
He might have been. Like, he was basically hanging out with children.
Yeah, he was.
He was a dad hanging out with unruly children.
Yeah. And Andrew, that's like 4 unruly children.
That's right.
One.
Yeah, because Andrew appears to be a grown up.
But is in no way, shape, form.
Yeah, Andrew will just learn a couple things about you and then murder you with them over time.
Destroy your life. One time, Andrew, I had been seeing like this guy, and I remember Andrew thought they're always tall. I can't date short. I should have. Maybe a short guy would have been good for me, but now I have a tall one and I like it. Yeah,
because the short guy would have been like, short people have a better chance of being ripped because they want to be tall.
I don't like ripped. I'm not ripped. I don't want to expect
You don't know. I don't know many short guys that don't go to the gym.
Really?
For sure.
Danny
when
DeVito.
You're short, you're like, you can't grow up. So
Danny DeVito.
Well, Danny, I like how you hit me with that. Like, Danny DeVito.
That's my card.
I believe the kids call that Uno. Checkmate.
Dano.
You got me with the short guy that doesn't work out. But the short guys I know work the fuck out.
Yeah.
They can't grow up, so they grow out.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't go this way, so I'm going to go that way.
Yeah.
I'm going to trick girls. I'm going to trick their brain with my shoulder size.
And my truck. I'm going to sit in my truck, and then I'm going to talk to them.
You're short. Like, yeah, you fucking look at this rotator cuff, you slut.
Okay, all right.
I don't even know if I said anything wrong there. Sometimes you react like I've just been racist.
No, you weren't racist.
I haven't been.
You backhanded a slut. That's basically.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Nobody's a slut. Even in a fake story about nobody.
I don't know why I care. Like, the people
Even
that
in
listen
a
to
fake
this
story about nobody, you can't say slut.
At this point, I feel like any attention is good attention for my career.
Would you do something like, ouch, I've been in a horrible... Would you do so, like, would you jump off of a building and break your legs forever?
Not for...
And then go up in a wheelchair at Dakota's in Kelowna?
No. Is that something that someone has done?
Well, I just feel like you need to turn yourself into a more marginalized, like you need to be just drop the straight thing for 6 years.
Drop the straight. You can't just drop the straight.
What is more bisexual?
Oh my God. If some people are going to get a hold of this one and then we're going to be just smeared all across the internet for being... it's not even that bad, but someone will be hurt.
Who gives a shit?
I know. So Mark Norman tweeted something out that was so funny, and it was like, I'll find it because I don't want to fuck it up because I retweeted it. I'm like, this is the tweet of the year because it's very much.
Well, I'm not saying anything bad. I'm saying
no, you're not.
If you want to be successful, you need another layer of.
And then I have a knee-jerk reaction. I'm like, this is offensive because I'm not allowed to pretend that I have something wrong with me. Like that's how nervous people are. Where is that joke? Oh, here. 22-year-old. Down with hate. We need to coexist. Same person. I hate your act and will work hard to get rid of you. It's true, though. It's a very weird society where you're only allowed to be offended by the things that offend you. But if I don't know, it's like you cannot hear the word no or... it's like everybody feels like, well, now we're all supposed to belong. Everybody belongs. I'm going to say something stupid going this because I'm high, but if you understand what I mean, that it's just become this weird culture.
Well, yeah, I mean, just the fact that we can't even really, we have a podcast that no one's listening to and we still don't feel comfortable having a discussion about it, right?
Yeah.
Because you feel like somebody could just cut this out.
And I think that's stupid. I think that there should be more conversations about this kind of stuff, even if it's a little weird because... that's if you shut down a conversation that somebody's having about it, it's just their thoughts coming out. And I think if you talk about it
they're old fucking wrong side of history thoughts. I prefer to sit on the fence of history and let those motherfuckers fight it out. I'll be up here on the jagged edge waiting to see who wins. I hope it's white straight males. You sick piece of shit!
That was like on where we did that.
Who are you cheering for? Nobody.
Remember we did Jim's show at a suburban bar, and it was like rich old white men everywhere, as far as the eye could see. I remember we got there and we realized that Charles Haycock, who was supposed to be headlining, wasn't going to be making it.
Oh, Chucky Hardcock.
He was at Just for Laughs, and then we were like, Just for Laughs started, and look at this.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of...
Yeah, we were like in the corner saying like, this is as far away from Just for Laughs as you can possibly be.
Yes, it is. But I just remember like doing that set and like they had that group of girls in the front. They were really cool and fun. And then there was that one table of just like older white dudes. And one of them just kept shouting stuff out at me. And I was just like,
Was he really?
Well, I said something about...
That was Jim, actually. Jim was screaming.
I said something about, I know that there's a swingers club in this neighborhood and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's at my house. I'm like, that's what I heard. I knew I recognized you when you bent over. I was like, I'll never forget how long those balls were.
Oh, you sicko.
I'm a sicko. But
how dare you.
But then, I guess he thought we had a rapport. So I guess it was kind of my fault. But that's not a comedy club, so people don't understand. But yeah, so he just kept shouting stuff out eventually. I just kept ignoring him enough that he got disinterested.
Well, it was so loud there. When I was on stage, I was talking to Jim. I was on stage,
and we appreciate the spot, Jim. Thank you so much.
I was like, hey, what? I was like, hey, what's that? I'm like, this comedy set feels like. What's that style of swimming where you're underwater? And this lady's like, scuba dive, and I'm like, drowning. It's the drowning one.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I didn't hear that.
It's the one without the oxygen.
Scuba drowning.
I feel like I'm doing the underwater swimming without the tanks on. What's that called again? Scuba drowning. I'm drowning up here.
Speaking of drowning, I'm drowning in debt. And,
no, you're not.
I'm actually, my credit card is almost fully paid off, and that's all I really have other than my mortgage that I'll never pay off. But I'm going to go more in debt because I do want to buy a car. Probably.
What kind of car are you going to get?
I'd like a Nissan Rogue.
What year?
Really would. Obviously I want
Nissan Rogue. You've really got your heart set on a Nissan Rogue.
I just like them. They were comfortable. They're fun to drive.
What if a Toyota Highlander falls out of the...
Oh, well, yeah, but I'm realistic in what I can afford. I can't afford a Toyota Highlander. I can't afford a RAV4.
Honda CR-V?
No, I can't afford any of those.
You don't even have RAV4 money?
I don't got RAV4 money.
Shit, bitch, what have you been doing?
I have not been investing with Kent Tilley.
K4 Financial. People with money get more money by talking to Kent.
It's true. But I don't have any money, so we're going to try
less.
and win some money.
Can't do anything for people that don't have any money.
Yeah, he can only...
I mean, what kind of financial advisor can only work with people that have cash?
Yeah, you should be able to work with people that don't have money. You need to let us know if you do work with poor people.
Do you do financial pro bono work for those of us who would like
quarter? Did you steal the quarter?
Did I? I probably did. What type of race does that make me?
Oh my God, that's so
do something racist now.
Funny.
Okay.
I cannot believe that you did it. I got watermelon winnings.
Ooh, watermelon winnings.
Went up to $10,000.
Let's say $1. I think you know what we need to do is we need to go. Let's buy some $20. I'll buy a couple $20 ones and see if we start winning anything.
All right.
Because this is episode 12.
Oh, I thought we won 1,000. Wait, 10,000. Shit, I'm too high to figure this out. I'm like, how many zeros? Fuck, I got kind of excited.
Oh my God. RAV4! Like just if you screamed out RAV4, that would have been great. Wait a minute.
That's the meanest thing to play on anybody is like give them one of those fake lottery tickets.
Oh, they have those?
Oh yeah, look on YouTube and say lottery prank ticket.
Evil.
It's evil because people are like
that is evil.
That's probably one of those evil.
San Francisco, remember in the 90s? San Francisco, that store? I bet they would have sold it.
Oh yeah,
back in the day.
The store San Francisco that had like unicorn banks and stuff in there would be like real big these days. I feel.
Whoopee cushions, a lot of whoopee cushions.
I love San Francisco.
I've never seen a fake lottery ticket, but that is.
Oh, I gave one to my mom.
You did? That is so bitchy.
I was a kid, though. I was like really
a child.
Young.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, this would be funny. And like I made my mom cry.
Oh,
That's a horrible thing to do to somebody.
Wait a minute. Did she think she won like $5,000 on a
$5,000?
Okay, yeah, I can see. So did she break down and cry when she thought she won?
Yeah, no. When she found out it was fake, she cried.
That is fantastic.
But I think she like didn't want to see. I think she just was like, "Oh no, that was a great joke." But she was like,
"Oh, I would have been devastated
yeah,
if I thought I won 25 G's, and then a little girl was like, "Actually, you won 0, Mama." You fucking oh wow! I wish you were adopted so I could kill you.
You won 0, Mama.
Well.
Oh my God, I'm so sweaty right now. Oh
so we won nothing again.
We won nothing again. We
Thanks
won $2
for listening to another shitty
once.
episode that got a little transphobic when Kathleen kicked in. Wow, I can't believe she went down that road.
Oh my God,
but she did.
All just innocent fun. I don't think we have any more.
We didn't even. I don't even think we said anything that weird in this podcast.
No, I don't think we did either.
Other than the Filipino bamboo sleep.
That's Filipino bamboo sleep
hotel.
Welby will be furious.
Double bamboo tree.
Welby's not even listening. He's turned it off and he's punching a wall right now.
No, he's not. Fuck, he's playing a video game. Or something.
He's playing a video game.
He would imagine what would have to happen for Welby to listen to an episode of us. And the beauty of it is he would have to listen to 40 minutes of us talking about nothing before we got to the Welby Santos part. And it was just about him saving money on a hotel.
It's all it was.
Tilly can do.
Ken Tilly could do that for you.
But thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Be a patron. I think we have 3, or they might have stopped being our patrons by now. I don't know. Or like follow us on places. Like make us feel like you're listening.
Who cares? Just listen or don't. We're going to keep making them.
And I'm going to keep sweating.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Be racist to each other.